Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the Auburn School Committee meeting of November 5th, 2025 to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll start down here on my right with introductions.
Dan Poisson, Ward 5.
Corin McGuigan, Ward 1.
Pam Hart, Ward 2.
Pamela Albert at large.
Sue Doris, Superintendent.
Pat Gaudier, Ward 3.
Jay Rich at large.
Adam Platt, City Council Representative.
Amanda Kuchar, Business Manager.
Scott Anier, Assistant Superintendent.
And Quinn Gormley was not able to be here tonight, and neither was Calvin. Calvin is at a math meet tonight. So I'm going to start with our consent agenda tonight, which includes the approval of tonight's agenda, the approval of the minutes of the October 15th, 2025 meeting, as well as the approval of the certified contract of Lucy DeRoche at Washburn Elementary. Do I have a motion? Corin, do I have a second?
Second.
Pam, do I have any questions, comments? All those in favor? Motion carries. It does not look like we have anyone here this evening for public participation. So moving on to our presentation on the Donald M. Gay Performing Arts Center.
Thank you. We have Lily Gardner here. She's our event coordinator, and she's going to provide us with an update tonight.
Thank you very much for having me this evening. I'm giving you our third report out since we opened up to the public. So the last one was in February. Here we go. So running the numbers, looking at the facility usage, in school year 24, we had about 5,000 visitors to the Donald M. Gay. We then increased it in school year 25 with around 17,000 visitors. So quite a large increase, but obviously a majority of that had to do with like it being a venue that officially opened, which helps, and that it was under management. So this year we've been open for only 3 months in the new school year, and about 3,000 visitors over 3 months. So a total of 26,000 people have visited us so far since we opened, which is quite exciting. We were looking at our client retention rate, and it was at 93.3% for this new school year. So we only had one client who didn't rebook, and that client was just another school from a different district. So we're very grateful and pleased that our clients are all returning this year for a new season with us. But some of our new clients are excited to announce that you will see advertising some events this year. We've got Maine's Got Talent, Midcoast Symphony Orchestra, Maine Dance Company, Take Center Stage out of Rhode Island, and One Beat Dance, which is a national company, as well as LA Ballet has moved the Nutcracker Christmas to the DMG, which is quite exciting. And they have received funding to be able to bring some professional ballerinas into our community. So with that news, they're going to be opening a full production as well. So something more spooky for the Halloween season, which we're excited about. So that's that. We just finished our Mainstay Music concert series, which we've been very excited. It went very well. We had 3 wonderful weekends with visitors visiting the PAC increasing week by week as the word spread around the community. They did announce that they would like to come back next year and do have dates on hold, and we're excited to continue this partnership with them to bring more exciting events to this community. At this time, Main State Music Theater is treated as an outside renter, so all information on our fees and policies can be found on our Auburn School District website, as well as the Donald M. Gay PAC, if anyone was curious about that. Oopsie. There we go. Financials. So last year, school year 25, we cleared around $25K in sales, but it is important to note that clients pay for personnel, so almost 60% of that is pass-through revenue, which pays for our custodians to be on site for like 13 hours a day, as well as our event managers. But in school year 26, we projected that we needed about 40K to be in the green this year. Right now, running the numbers are around 50 grand and rising. So it's still early in the year. We have a lot of people that will add events last minute. So we will see what that ends looking like next February. And just a reminder of where that money goes. So the DMG has its own accounts, and that account is split into 3 separate accounts. So we have the enterprise account, our restoration account, and our additional service account, which is how we manage the revenue that comes in from our clients. Maintenance updates for this new year. We have discovered some issues with our stage paint job, which is going to require a repaint. So we're currently under investigation for that, but we're hoping to get it resolved quickly. Another thing that we've ran into is a huge risk for our tech is that we're experiencing frequent outages in our area. And every single time that happens, the tech doesn't reset properly, it blows fuses. So we do need to have UPS power installed into 2 towers in the auditorium. So I'm glad that we have some good clients this year, because I'm hopeful we'll be able to afford getting those things installed this school year so that we can protect our equipment long term, because if it keeps happening, it's going to keep damaging the stuff. We have an annual rigging inspection, which we're going to be hosting annually to ensure the safeties of our rigging in our stage theater. So our first rigging inspection is going to be happening on November 24th or 25th. Sorry for my typo in there. And then there's also other upgrades, hanging hooks, drillings, repairs, maintenance that comes with running a PAC that Public Works has been helping me maintain. Our annual maintenance cost is looking at around $7,000 right now. That's for the inspection, upholstery, and stage painting. But there's other maintenance costs that come later on, such as curtain cleaning and whatnot. So we're discovering there is a lot of maintenance fees involved with running a performing arts center, and ways to navigate that. We've got some exciting projects going on this year. So we're going to be hiring some support staff at events, as well as training staff to help support events, which is overall going to help me in the job role, but also just helps turn it into more of a cohesive performing arts center with many people under the reins. We're also working on improving wayfinding, improving signage around the hallways and the exterior of the building to help people navigate the space a little bit more. We are also working on building a DMG Performing Arts Center Advisory Board, which is going to help me be able to guide with decision-making in the future, so that it's less up to just me and more up to a community of people that helps guide the decisions for the future of the space. We do have a professional company developing a new website. So I did launch a website in February, but we discovered of it being a venue in its own location, it needing SEO and Google My Business and all that such, which I couldn't achieve on our website. So we've got a company out of Portland developing that right now, which we're super excited to launch. Which will hopefully take us to the next level online and help build a better online presence. And then the last thing is we're working on some educational workshops, hopefully coming next year, which is just going to help add more educational factors to the Performing Arts Center. So we've been in conversation with people like Maine Public Radio and clients like USM and such to come back and hopefully teach workshops to the kids in the Performing Arts Center so that some more things are going on during the school day. So yeah. We've got a bunch of upcoming events, so keep an eye on our social media and website for that. The most recent coming up is Little Mermaid, with the Nutcracker Christmas coming after that. We've got our winter concerts, mayoral inauguration, the holiday concert, and then Christmas at the castle. Anyone have any questions?
Questions? Pam?
When you say about the painting, that it's under investigation, does that mean we're reaching out to the original painters to remediate the situation?
Do you want to take that?
So yes, and that has led us to, we needed to find a professional group to look at it because it really needs to go beyond what was spec'd. And so we've examined that with Harriman and with Dudley. And now with the amount of usage, now we've kind of turned, what was, main flooring specialists to really uncover what it is that we need to be doing to have ongoing maintenance and preserve it and put the right finishing coat on that we were looking for.
Adam?
Thanks. Great presentation. I always love learning about this because I think it's unique to try to run something kind of half as a business, but also respect the fact that it's part of an education system and part of the high school. So I think you're doing a great job straddling that line. I don't really have a question, but my comment is, when you said $7,000 in operational upkeep and acknowledging that that's probably low, there's, capital expenditures that'll take place down the line. I would just say to make sure that to keep updating the board on that. I think that's going to be the biggest surprise of the facility is all that you're going to have to replace your AV system in 10 years and it's going to cost $150,000 or you're going to have, so we can say 7,000 today, but in 5 years it's going to be 12,000 and in 30 it's going to be 40,000. So I think those will be the biggest surprises you guys uncover in that space. And I think it's important to continue to communicate to this group about what some of those surprises are, because new spaces are wonderful, but they get far more expensive when they're no longer new. So,
Pat?
I'm interested to have you clarify the relationship between the auditorium and the city of Auburn. Are you totally within our budget? I know when they, part of the rationale for building it that large was to make money for the community. So I think, I just want to clarify in my head where we're at with that.
I don't run the money. So this has all been such a new entity, to kind of come back to what Adam had talked about. So it's really kind of moved from being a building entity to more of the school department entity. And so all of that work kind of happens on the financial piece. It kind of comes from Lily into Amanda and then gets set up into the various accounts that way, because as we're learning what this maintenance, things that we didn't know were maintenance and things that we need to have on the horizon 1 year, 2 year, 3 months, 7 years out. But it sits aside from the school as its own piece with the school department.
To piggyback off that, since this is a community gem, does the city also help would they be helping with maintenance and stuff when it gets to be really high numbers?
So that kind of comes back to our MOU that we have with the city in terms of having maintenance with them. So they are part of that equation, but we still have to be paying for the labor, the outside of school hours, whether it's weekends or evenings. Like, that's still our responsibility, the same as it would be for a basketball game. However, they're very much a partnership. So even though if we ask for custodian help, it's still under the city's umbrella, even though they're located within the schools. And same with the maintenance or the custodian piece, that's where they're actually located, but they are city employees.
Going to the hiring of more people to help support, is there any thought of maybe looking for volunteers? Because I know when you go to like Merrill or other venues, there's a whole slew of memes that are helping out. I say that. Grammys. No, I know that like my mother-in-law does that. That's something that she does. She goes to, Groton Hill in Massachusetts so she can watch a show, and she's there to do whatever they want. Whether show somebody a seat or get somebody a cookie,
So is that something that we could think about instead of having to hire extra people? But I want you to have your support too.
Yeah, the hired support is mainly AV techs in trainee. We did launch a kind of volunteer initiative this year, so we had a sign-up sheet where people were able to go to the Main State Music Theaters for shows for free, but in return, they then had to sign up for at least 3 school events. So we do have some of those ushers showing up for like Little Mermaid and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to build that up. Definitely need to do more outreach on that. I think there's probably more people in the community that would be interested in that maybe don't know about it. So I'll definitely do my part to get the word out more about that volunteer basis.
Oh, yep.
I had a question from an acquaintance. She was wondering, she had been to the Main State Music Theater performances, and she wondered, what kind of advertising do you do outside of the website? Because people were asking, how do I find out about what's coming? And it's on the website, but I wondered if you did anything, because I noticed a lot of the people at the last show anyway were non-Auburn people.
Yeah. So we have our social medias and our website. Once we are also working on our new logo, so there is a little kind of branding and background stuff that needs to happen before I can start like getting out in the community and showing up to more chamber events and printing out banners and flyers and doing more of that stuff, which is kind of more boots on the ground stuff that I need to do. Right now I just am trying to get the website fully uploaded, and I've also been running everything off of my personal work email account, so we're creating the Donald M. Gay Gmail account as well, and then hopefully a revamp of the logo, something more clear, and once all those things are created, hopefully I will start increasing that.
I really appreciate you. I really like what you've been doing. Thank you very much.
I think some of the learning that we've been experiencing and taking place is how much are we advertising when we're the host, and how much is the entity that's renting that drives that bus. And so it's kind of like, where does that fit? And Lily trying to navigate with each of the renters, who holds what responsibility for advertising.
Yeah, I think in regards to like the Main State Music Theater performances, clearly they have their own, membership list, email list that they're advertising to as well. Because I know that, some of my family members came to some of those performances. I got to go to the Elvis one with them. Yeah. So that was, and it was great. And it seemed like, it was well attended and people really enjoyed it. So kudos to you for that. But I do think that there is kind of a balance between how much advertising we're doing for other people's events versus them advertising for their own event. So, did you have a comment?
So this is probably the last time I'll be getting a presentation from you. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. This is like such a dream come true. As a parent of someone who was in theater, was singing, was in concerts. This was something that was a dream. And working with the people who donated the money for this, it's been such an amazing, it's just been so amazing to see that you have brought like so much life to this, and you've done so much work. And I know that this is not your only job, that you're splitting your time, and I just want to say thank you, because you're really so appreciated, and just thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Anyone else have any other comments or questions for Lily? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, we do not have a school committee student representatives report tonight, but I think Calvin will be planning on updating us at the next meeting all about EL School Spirit Week and athletics and all kinds of fun things. Sneak peek, I did get to go to EL Spirit Week and watch the skits. Val let me sneak in and watch the skits, and they were excellent, and it was super fun to just see the kids and how much fun and school spirit they had. It was awesome. Moving on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Doris.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Albert. I have one item on my report tonight, and that is school delays and cancellations. So it's that time of year when we need to be ready for a possible snow day, and I wanted to provide an overview of our procedures. So first of all, we make a decision as early in the morning as possible. Usually it's the day of, and per our policy, all of our notifications will go out by 6 a.m. And whenever possible, if we can make the decision the day before, we will. And as far as snow days go, we are sticking with the first 3 will be traditional snow days that we make up in June on the calendar. And then after the first 3 days, then we will have remote learning days. So the students will be learning from home. And we do provide meals on the remote days. We have sign-ups that families can access online, and they can sign up for both breakfast and lunch. And the way that works is that we send the breakfast and lunch home the day before. And if we haven't made the decision yet, we just send the breakfast and lunch home the day before, just to be on the safe side. When we have a delay, a delayed start is a 2-hour delay, and morning pre-K is canceled. And when we have an early dismissal, this follows our Wednesday early release schedule, so K6 will be dismissed at 1 o'clock, and 7 through 12 at 12 o'clock, and afternoon pre-K will be canceled. As far as the notifications go, we will have our robocall from Mr. Robinson, and that will go out. It could go out as a call, but your preferred method of getting your messaging might be text or email, so that will come through as well. And then we post on the local news outlets and the radio stations and the district website. And as always, safety is our top priority. Any questions?
Any questions for Dr. Doris? Okay.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. So moving on now to, hold on, get back to my right screen here. To my school committee chairperson's report. Scott, I might need you to open up my presentation on that, because I think that's the only
Yes.
laptop that has presentations now. And you might have to advance slides for me.
Okay, if I can get there.
It
Try the other
should. Is it the other tab? It should have been there.
I'm clicking the other tab.
Was it shared with Google Docs?
I emailed it to the email address earlier today. Yeah, the chairperson's report one. Yep.
There you go.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to just give everybody a quick update about the Maine School Management Annual Fall Conference. So I had the pleasure of attending the MSMA Fall Conference again this year with Dr. Doris and Corin on the first day, and with Corin and Scott on the second day. I also attended the board chair workshop that happened the Wednesday afternoon prior to the two-day conference. I always find the fall conference to be a great conference with a lot of great and timely conference session topics. It's really good professional development opportunity for board members. And so I encourage everyone, if you are able to in future years, to attend. It's also a great opportunity to network with other board members and superintendents around the state. Next slide, thank you. So just a little highlight about some of the speakers this year. This year's keynote speakers were really great. The opening keynote was given by Joe Sanfilippo, who was the superintendent of the year in 2019. He's from a very small school district in Wisconsin. He gave a great keynote about leading from where you are and how everyone, regardless of the role that they hold within a school district, whether from custodian to superintendent, can be a leader from that position and help spread the word about all the good things happening within school buildings and districts. I felt that that was a really great and timely message for us here in Auburn as we work to improve the ways in which we communicate with what's happening in our school district and with the wider community. And then Angela Marzilli spoke about artificial intelligence and reflected on the ways roles of students and educators are changing with the use of AI and how even young students can begin to develop the skills they need to engage with AI safely, responsibly, and productively. And then lastly, I had the opportunity to present in my professional capacity with some of my Maine CDC colleagues about the Maine Integrated Youth Health Survey. And I specifically presented on an analysis I did on the impact of community and family-related protective factors on risk behaviors and outcomes among Maine high school students. And that basically, the analysis demonstrated that students who feel their community cares about them, feels that people at their schools care about and encourage them, feel that they have support from adults other than their parents, or who have families that love and support them, are less likely to experience depressive symptoms, suicide ideation, and be current substance users. So all important things that we think about in ways of how we can improve providing some of those protective factors at the community and school level for our students in order to have better outcomes in some of those risk behaviors. So. Next, so the other part of the MSMA conference I always enjoy are the sessions on boardsmanship and what it means to be a board member, which I think are great refreshers for everyone on the role of the school committee versus the superintendent. So I decided that I would share one of those slides here because I always find it helpful when thinking about my role on this committee. So we as board members often think about staying in our lane when it comes to our role. And this slide really clearly delineates what that means. So per Maine statute, the role of the school committee includes the adoption of policy, the hiring and evaluation of the superintendent, overseeing student suspension and expulsion hearings, adjudication and management of school property. And then again, per Maine statute, the role of the superintendent is to employ and supervise all teachers, administrators, and staff, implement and enforce policies of the school committee, and oversee the business management of this district. So I just think it's always kind of a nice refresher. And then lastly, I just want to extend a big thank you to the members of this committee for rising to the call to support our students and families at Auburn Middle School by providing a donation of food to ensure that students and families in need of food during the delay in SNAP funding are provided for. I had the privilege of dropping off $500 worth of food at AMS on Monday morning, but it was definitely a group effort by this committee, which I wanted to recognize and thank you all for. I'm always happily reminded that good things happen when we come together as a community to support our students, and that a fed student is one who is ready to learn. So thank you all. And I also want to give a big shout out to, I know it's been Parent-Teacher Conference week last week, and it's happening today at EL. So just a big thank you to all of our teachers who I know are putting in lots of hours and a late evening today and last week for Parent-Teacher Conferences. There were tons of parents in the building when I was there earlier today doing my Parent-Teacher Conferences. And so that was always very encouraging to see. So anyone have any questions or comments? Pat?
I just want to thank you for initiating this. It's amazing when you stand together and do something, and the need in this community is extremely high right now. So thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you for supporting it.
I also want to thank you too, Pam, but I also want to thank the schools and Dr. Doris, because I had reached out when this was happening and when this was starting with the SNAP. And I'm just so glad that our school has stepped up and we've always been feeding kids. It's been something that we've been doing for years. I remember during COVID, we still fed children. And during this time of high need, I just appreciate that the school has risen up to that as well. And I'm really proud and honored to have been part of this as well.
Thank you all. So moving on, city council update. Adam.
Thank you. Thin update today, 3 items. The first, just to keep you guys informed, at City Council on Monday, we had the first of what I imagine will be several public hearings and or workshops on syringe service providers. Obviously, that's not directly associated with schools, but I think it's something that the school department should follow as that unravels. It's been a very, across the river in Lewiston, that's been a very vibrant debate over there, and so I would imagine we'll probably see something similar here in Auburn. So again, on Monday, we were just hearing from professionals, professional public health professionals, so that'll continue. Number 2, this is about 3 weeks old, but it's worth noting that the city has a new website. If anyone has seen that, the City of Auburn, I think so far it's going well. I think they're still kind of collecting data, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't. I believe there might be some preliminary discussions about someday migrating the school's platform over to this new website, but I don't think there's anything too definitive yet on that. But the capability is there now that the city has a new website, so that's great. And then just saying congratulations to the clerk and all of the clerk's volunteers from the election yesterday. Congratulations to all of the candidates, those who won, those who didn't win. Congratulations to everyone for being a part of that process. There was a 43% voter turnout in Auburn, which I don't have the historical numbers, but I believe that's pretty good for a non-presidential, non-Senate, non-state house. So I think that was pretty good in Auburn, showing that people are paying attention and want to be heard. That's all I've got.
Anyone have any questions for Adam? All right, thank you, Adam. Moving on to our committee reports, the policy subcommittee agenda and minutes are linked. The one agenda item, though, from the policy subcommittee is on our new business, so we can wait for that update. This curriculum subcommittee agenda from today is linked. And then the facilities subcommittee agenda from yesterday's meeting is also linked. So those minutes will be on our next agenda. Moving on, we don't have any old business, so under new business, I'll entertain a motion to approve AUB JICJ, student use of cell phones and other electronic devices for a first reading. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Pam, do I have a second? Corin? Discussion, someone from the policy committee want to give us a quick overview update? Scott?
Certainly. Just a little background. In the last legislative session, a bill was passed that all school districts needed to have a cell phone policy. They didn't dictate what would be in that policy, but you needed to have one. The good news is that we had previously had one. So this really was a course in trying to refresh that and use more current language and reflect the practices of what was actually taking place. There have been some rule and procedural changes that have happened within the schools, and so we just wanted to be sure that we had that discussion. One of the ones that is most evident is the rule implementation at the high school of not having cell phones available during class time at all, and they're only allowed in between classes and as well as at lunchtime. But that we wouldn't find that in the policy. That would be more of the rules that we would find in the student handbooks, as well as the communication that is provided to students and families at the beginning of the year and then throughout the year. But just in summary, it just really, our policy was to update with more current language and really be sure that it aligned with what we were talking about.
Any questions, discussion, Adam?
Thanks. I had a question. What I see written here makes sense to me. My curiosity is, does this have any provision or allow for the type of device that I, as a parent might want to give my child for emergencies? Those phones with no screen, 3 pre-programmed numbers Does this allow for a student to have one of those?
I think the way each classroom is managing it, I mean, they're put away. It's not that they're forbidden to be in the building, it's just during class time. It used to be that and I can say this from the high school, that it was around instruction time, and now they've moved from bell to bell. And if an emergency did happen, or there was a need, then that is something that is coordinated with the staff, whether it's the teacher or the administrator. And sometimes we've seen that with some situations with kids who are monitoring blood sugar levels. So that would be, a more specific conversation around what are those needs. But it's the rule is bell to bell.
Also,
Oh, sorry. Pat?
To add that part of our discussion included keeping them in the classroom deliberately
Yes.
so that parents could be notified if there was an issue or the kids were experiencing a trauma. And I think that was deliberate on our part to do that and to allay your fears about, and parents' fears.
Pam?
we also discussed definitely keeping them in the class, because it used to be that they were in, especially in elementary school, they were in lockers. But now they're going to be in the class, maybe in a basket in the front. And we also discussed consistency along the lines of all elementary schools, just doing it the same way. Because it was, one school was doing it one way, one school was doing it another way. And I'm not saying one was wrong or the other, but it was just to add consistency to the whole department, since the high school and the middle school are two entities, but we have multiple elementary schools.
Mm-hmm. Jay?
I appreciate this policy as an educator. I think it's helpful to have something to fall back on, so that you can say, sorry, like this is a board policy. So thank you. I do like that it's streamlined as well across all of our buildings. And I do encourage parents, if it's like, hey, pick up something on your way home, or please pick up your little brother or sister, if we could communicate that through the office or a different channel, because it is very distracting when you're checking your phone and the student is saying, oh, it's my parent. It's like, okay, but if parents could also help alleviate a little bit of that, that would be helpful too. So thank you guys.
I'm curious, is there feedback from how this is going, how especially the high school policy has been implemented so far this year, and like feedback from staff, feedback from students?
Yes, actually, prior to the meeting, Val had asked in each of the departments to create some kind of feedback of how that's going. And from the staff, they're very appreciative in finding that students are more engaged. And I always say, what does that look like? And so that they are not rushing through work, they're asking questions, they're completing work in class. And I think those are some real important indicators of how successful it's happening, as well as there are the other pieces of having more face-to-face conversations, more questions being asked, more follow-through throughout the entire lesson, as well as they are starting to pick up there are ways to be able to, so to say, entertain themselves without a device, and that's very helpful. We have started to get some feedback that Val was able to collect from some of the students who were saying that they were appreciative because it kind of leveled the playing field, and that they themselves are finding that they were more focused on doing that work because they weren't trying to rush through and complete that. And they too were themselves are enjoying those other ways of trying to entertain themselves and really appreciating having more contact with their teacher. And I would venture to say that that's a really hard thing for them to have to admit.
I appreciate the revisions to the policy. I also appreciate the way that it's being implemented. I know other school districts have taken other approaches in the cell phone management. I think that this is a happy medium of, managing the usage, like you said, during class time, bell to bell, but still making sure that the devices are available for students in the event of an emergency or something. So I think that this is a great kind of happy medium. Yep.
I'm also curious if this policy is going to have any correlation on bullying, harassment reports that we get in schools as well. So I'm just interested to see that data later and see if there's any correlation.
Okay, any other thoughts, discussion before we vote on this? Okay. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving AUB JICJ, student use of cell phones and other electronic devices for a first reading? Motion carries. We have a list of all of our upcoming meetings. Our next regular school committee meeting is on November 19th. And do I have any future agenda items or requests for information? Yes.
I would love to hear more about the LRTC programs and how we're doing, and just so that the public can know how well we're doing with this program. I think it's such a gem, but it's just such an asset to our schools, and I really would love to publicize that and to let people know what's going on.
Actually, at our last curriculum meeting in October, we spoke of the LRTC, so I can send you the minutes from that. And I spoke of it at I think one of our last meetings, I spoke to it. So I can get you some information if you'd like.
Do we usually do an annual LRT? We usually do an annual LRTC presentation, right?
Yes, we usually
Yeah.
do.
Do we know when that might be yet?
I think it was in the spring last year.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
get that scheduled again.
Okay.
I just think it's something that's really an asset to our school, and I think the community needs to know what's going on. It's just a great thing.
Any other agenda items or requests for information? Okay. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Corin?
Second.
Pam? All those in favor? We are adjourned at 6:41. Thank you, everyone.